Evening. Before I begin the state of the town, I would ask everyone to please stand for a moment of silence in memory of Massachusetts State Trooper Tamar A. Bucci, graduating from the State Police Academy in 2020. Trooper Bucci's greatest dream became a reality before it was tragically cut short last week when she gave her life in the line of duty of helping a motorist with a disabled vehicle. Our thoughts and prayers go out to her family, friends, and fellow officers in law enforcement. Thank you. Please be seated. I would also like to take this opportunity to remember our very own K-9 Kit, who served Braintree for 12 years and died a hero on June 4th, 2021, and recognize his partner, Officer Billy Cushing, and Officers Matthew Donahue and Richie Seibert for their heroic actions during the shooting incident on June 4th. Thank you all. Thank you for all that you do to serve and protect the town of Braintree and our residents. Also, given the recent invasion of Ukraine by Russian forces, I want to take this opportunity to announce that the town of Braintree stands in solidarity with the Ukrainian people. To show our support, we are now flying the Ukraine flag out in front of Town Hall. Additionally, this Friday, the town will be hosting a medical supply drive for Ukraine from 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. in front of Town Hall. A list of items needed can be found on our town's website. Appreciate anyone that can participate. Town councilors, school committee members, elected officials, department heads, town employees, distinguished guests, and Braintree residents, it is my honor to welcome you to the State of the Town Address. The COVID-19 pandemic changed the world as we know, and in the days leading up to the 2-year anniversary, I feel it is appropriate to reflect and acknowledge the impact this pandemic continues to have on our community, both business and residential. There are many families who are still struggling to find ways to make ends meet, and many small businesses who are trying to revitalize their operations. Of course, over the past 2 years, the impact of the pandemic has been felt by all. Despite these difficulties, we as a community remain resilient in our efforts to succeed during these unprecedented times. As I have said before, the greatest loss is the loss of life. We must always remember the 136 Braintree residents who lost their lives due to the pandemic. Despite all the loss that we have endured, we keep moving forward together as residents, as neighbors, as friends, and most importantly, as a community. I want you to know how proud I am of the fact that we were able to provide vaccinations and boosters for our most vulnerable and senior population in this very room at Town Hall. This was a daunting task. Thanks to the tireless efforts by my staff, our town health department, nurses, school nurses, we were able to successfully administer nearly 3,000 vaccinations and booster shots. The importance of having a local vaccination clinic for our seniors was paramount, and requiring them to travel to Gillette Stadium or Fenway Park to be vaccinated was simply not an option. The only time our seniors should be traveling to these venues is to enjoy watching a Red Sox or Patriots big game and watching them win. What I witnessed firsthand at the vaccination clinics was the elation of so many of our senior residents. It gave them the freedom to embrace their children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren once again. This in itself made every extra hour spent at Town Hall so worthwhile, and I am committed to continuing to be a resource and support system for our residents. We would not have been able to provide this resource to our residents without the dedication and hard work of our staff. Over the past 2 years, town employees have continued to work through unprecedented times to ensure that the needs of our residents are met and they continue to receive the highest level of service throughout the town. And I wanted to take this opportunity to offer my sincere gratitude and appreciation to every employee for their daily efforts. Additionally, I want to take a moment to congratulate and thank Heidi Hurley, who has recently retired and is currently breathing new life into the Braintree Community Arts Center building. I am confident through her positive leadership that we will not only be able to restore programs that were once offered at the center, but that she will bring many new programs to the center. Once again, thank you, Heidi Hurley, for your service to our country, the students of Braintree, and the town of Braintree. As we continue to move forward as a community and return to our pre-pandemic lifestyle, I wish to share the many things that we have been working on to provide an even brighter future for our community as we continue to make a better Braintree together. Over 2 years ago, when I took the oath of office, I set out to accomplish a number of goals and objectives. Many items were delayed due to the pandemic, but our work never stopped. One of the biggest goals was to work on and improve our school buildings. In 2020, after touring all of our school buildings from boiler room to roofs, I put together a plan for debt exclusion to begin to address our elementary schools, build a new South Middle School, perform a feasibility study at the high school, and work on enhancing security in all school buildings. The community came together and overwhelmingly supported all of these initiatives, most notably building a new South Middle School. Through our partnership with the Massachusetts School Building Authority, we will receive up to $31 million in assistance to fund the project. For the town's share of the funding, we were able to borrow $50 million at an interest rate of 1.97%, allowing us to reduce the loan term from 30 years to 25. Following the success of the debt exclusion, there were a number of challenges as we worked through the bidding process for the new South Middle School. But the end result was the approval to build the first new Braintree school since the new Braintree High School in 1972. The new South Middle School is now under construction, under budget, and scheduled to open on time in the fall of 2023. I want to thank the voters for believing in and supporting our vision for the future of our schools. I also want to thank the teachers, paras, administrative staff, and the entire school community for their continued support of Braintree students and our future. Our relationship with the MSBA does not stop with South. We are currently in the design phase for roof replacements at Highlands and Liberty Elementary Schools and are awaiting a decision on replacements at Manadequat, Flaherty, and Hollis. The partnership we have established with the MSBA is an essential part of the continued redevelopment of our schools, and with continued support in the funding approved by the voters, we are able to continue to improve the infrastructure of our school buildings and enhance the educational experience for our children. The work needed in our school buildings extends beyond the exterior. In fact, it has become evident that we need to create a master plan for the future of all of our school buildings, inside and out, to address the growing needs of our aging school buildings. In order to complete this comprehensive assessment and prioritize the maintenance needs of our school buildings, we are moving forward with an initiative to create a centralized maintenance department that would be responsible for all our buildings, including the schools. The proposal, initially put forward by Councilor Steve O'Brien, would allow us to move towards a proactive approach to maintenance using in-house staff instead of reactionary services often performed by outside vendors. Thank you to the Town Council, who has shown its unanimous support for this proposal through a vote to adopt an ordinance setting forth the consolidation to the school committee for its ongoing consideration and discussion through the Finance and Operations Subcommittee. The need for change is how we maintain our school buildings was emphasized in the fall of 2021, when we had to delay the start of school at the high school. At the time, I made the decision to have the town's facilities department assist the school facilities department in addressing time-sensitive issues at the high school, so that the high school could open safely for our students. This included replacing over 250 fixture supply lines and valves, addressing the main plumbing control valves to each building zone, abating and installing new valves, access panels for all science labs, and resolving drainage issues in the girls' locker room and in the kitchen. This is a prime example of the work that can be accomplished with a combined facilities maintenance program. With a positive vote from the school committee, we will be able to access what we must do now, what we need to do soon, and what we want to do in the near future. We must do better for our children. And a comprehensive plan for the maintenance of our school facilities is a necessary step in the right direction. In addition to taking care of our schools, we will continue to fund our roads and infrastructure program and address our capital needs townwide. The Department of Public Works has committed to maintaining and improving our roadway surfaces, sidewalks, making them accessible for both vehicles and pedestrians. Over the course of last year, the town repaved 4.89 miles of roadway surfaces and 4.21 miles of new sidewalk, including the installation of 72 new wheelchair-accessible ramps at intersections and 5,089 feet of granite curbing. As we continue to prepare the plan for the 2022 roadway and infrastructure projects, I have prioritized sidewalks throughout the town. In addition to the sidewalks, the water mains will be replaced on Quincy Ave from Allen Street to the Quincy line during this construction season, resulting in an improvement to the water quality for residents in East Braintree. Improvements to this area will continue into next year when Mass DOT committing to repave Quincy Avenue in 2023. One of the most important infrastructure needs is the renovation of fire headquarters. For several years, we have funded parts of a total overall renovation. But with this additional funding recommended for approval as part of this year's capital plan, we will be able to finalize the design plans and move forward with permitting and construction in 2022. This is a must-do project for our first responders, and they will have an improved station for years ahead. Much like our community, the town continues to recover from the impact of COVID-19 pandemic. As we have passed the midway point of the fiscal year 22 budget, we continue to look for cost savings within the fiscal 2022 budget and look to reallocate funds to cover expenses to avoid the use of free cash. We are also in the early stages of contract negotiations and putting together our fiscal year 2023 budget. As we work to rebuild, we look to create an efficient use of tax dollars to fund the budget while providing the highest level of services for our residents. Through our due diligence and hard work of our finance department, we have maintained a strong bond rating, continuing to have a AA+ bond rating. In addition, we have increased our certified free cash from $2.9 million in 2021 to over $4.7 million today. Our budget strategy remains fiscally conservative, and we are constantly working to identify additional funding sources and savings wherever possible. One potential new funding source comes in the form of a partnership with our neighbors in Randolph. The town of Braintree has entered into an agreement with the town of Randolph as part of an application for a Regional Emergency Communications Center grant to create a regional dispatch center for police and fire. If awarded, we will be provided with the funding to build out a new regional dispatch center at 2 JFK Memorial Drive. The building has sat vacant since the Water and Sewer Department moved their offices nearly 2 decades ago, and now has the potential to serve as a state-of-the-art communications center, providing dispatch services to Braintree and Randolph residents. We already have a strong working relationship with Randolph through the Tri-Town Water District, and the creation of a regional emergency communication center will serve to strengthen that relationship while allowing us to redevelop this historic building for an essential purpose. One of my goals since taking office has been to bring life science, biotech, and medical use industries to Braintree. As a community, Braintree offers a variety of unique benefits that I am confident will enhance any of these industries and ensure long-term operations in our community. Working with the Massachusetts Office of Business Development, I have put together a team of internal stakeholders to provide all necessary resources to begin life science and biotech operations in Braintree in an efficient and expedited manner. This team is led by my Chief of Staff, Nicole Taub, includes Director of Municipal Finance, the Deputy Assessor, the Director of Municipal Licensing and Inspections, the Director of Planning and Community Development, the Water Works Superintendent, and the Braintree Electric Light Department Key Accounts Representative. We want all businesses to know that Braintree is open for business. Our town has transitioned over its long and rich history from a farm town to a factory town to a retail and office town. Now is the time for our community to be known as a life science, biotech, and medical industry innovator. This is the future of Braintree, and in order to achieve that, I plan to create a life science biotech overlay district with my eye on Wood Road and Ivory Street to attract and further the growth of these businesses in our community. We are very close to having our first major life science company here in Braintree. and I look forward to making that announcement sometime this year. We have been fortunate to have so many long-standing small businesses make the difficult journey through the effects of COVID-19 and survive. We must continue to support these small businesses and welcome the many new businesses that have opened since the pandemic. Small businesses are the heart and soul of our economy. They provide support for our local sports, PTOs, and charities. To show my great support for our small business community, I am creating the Small Business Advisory Council. The members of the council will help me create innovative ways to attract and maintain small businesses. Additionally, they will be my direct connection to small business owners as we continue to provide any assistance necessary to meet their unique needs. I am proud to announce that Kay Young, one of our established woman-owned business leaders in the community, will chair this committee. Kay is the proud owner of Kay's Cans and Bottle in the Landing, which is a unique and must-visit Braintree business. She represents the epitome of a small hometown business, and we are very fortunate to have her and her business here in Braintree. Kay, could you please stand? Thank you, Kay. She also does the beer garden, and let's see, we did the fundraiser for KIT out here, which you're going to do again, so we really appreciate everything you do for our community. I am also pleased to update you on the progress of the Liberty and Grove Street rezone and redevelopment. We capitalized on the opportunity to purchase the oldest house in Braintree and ensure the preservation of this historic asset, as well as preserve more open space for the community's enjoyment. The intersection now supports a local small business, the Goddard Daycare, which will be able to support many local families when it relocates to this property. Additionally, currently in the permitting stage is a brand new state-of-the-art CVS with a drive-through. This redevelopment will bring new life to this intersection, currently home to an abandoned gas station, and offer accessibility to so many of our residents with the addition of a drive-through for customers of the pharmacy. The redevelopment of this long-time blighted area is a win for all Braintree. One topic I'm sure that is on everyone's mind is the status of the long-abandoned former site of Motel 6. We can all agree that this property has presented a unique series of challenges and tragedies to the town of Braintree, our residents, and the property's ownership. I've spent numerous hours with the owners, and there are many, in order to clean up the site and bring new life to the location. And I am optimistic about the site's future. With that, I'm pleased to inform you tonight that there is currently an agreement between the sellers and a buyer that is scheduled to close March 10th, which is tomorrow. While I cannot discuss the specifics on the future development, I can report that it will be redeveloped for retail use. That's great news. Because this property sits at a main entrance points to Braintree and once sold, I promise you that my staff and I will work expeditiously to facilitate the permits to allow for the long-awaited revitalization of this location to serve the needs of our community. Additionally, currently in the permitting stage is a new development for 60 Columbian Street, the former site of the Mass State Lottery. I think based on the development criteria and items they're discussing, we're kind of hitting the lottery here in Braintree with this redevelopment. The development is called Banner Park, and at this point in the first phase, there will be a new 275,000 square feet for high-tech manufacturing and logistics campus. This development will be one of the largest build-to-suit opportunities in the greater Boston area to attract biotech manufacturing, medical device, robotics, and logistic companies in a modern campus setting. This will be the first phase of the redevelopment of this site, and the site will also have the location, the new location of Mass General Brigham Medical Facility. And I will give credit to Councilor Mackin, but I was told today by the developer in a meeting that they have committed to building a dog park for Braintree. So if you have a dog, we're going to have a park. In response to the recent shootings at the South Shore Plaza, I insisted that they take immediate steps to enhance security and implement safety measures to protect all who visit the site. As a result, with discussions involving South Shore Plaza management, they have now implemented 4 elevated mobile security towers to monitor parking areas. Additional security patrol vehicles have been added to patrol the property. An elevated mobile security observation platform has been added to the plaza's parking lot surveillance capabilities, and additional safety measures throughout the plaza. Another step forward in enhancing the consumer experience can be seen in the recent amendment to the parking ratios, an endeavor I supported that will give Simon Properties more flexibility on reimagining uses at the mall. Additionally, through our planning board, we have approved office use for the Lord & Taylor building and are continuing to explore creative and new uses for this anchor at the plaza. As we move into 2022, we will continue to work closely with Simon Properties to help facilitate changes necessary for this regional mall to thrive in the future and provide all who visit the landmark with a safe and welcoming shopping experience. Once again, this is how we build a better Braintree together. I have made it a top priority of my administration to create and fund a master plan to prepare our town for decades to come. As part of this process, I created the Master Plan Steering Committee, made up of residents, business owners, a planning board member, and town councilors. As a result of the work conducted by the Master Plan Steering Committee, we have been able to hire J.M. Goldson as a consultant. With over 25 years of experience in comprehensive planning, affordable housing, historic preservation, open space conservation, and community engagement, I am confident in the abilities of Jen Goldson and her team to create a roadmap for the future of our town and look forward to hearing from you, the residents and business owners, about your vision for the future of our great community. My administration has prioritized the use of community preservation funds to rebuild and develop our recreational spaces. For example, we have hired a consultant to complete a redesign of Watson Park, including a redesign of the park to create additional parking and a state-of-the-art Little League baseball facility. The design will also include multi-use sports field at Hollis, which will be able to be utilized for many different sports in town. These designs will be completed this summer with plans for construction to follow. The Community Preservation Committee also committed funding to support the redesign and construction of new pickleball courts and new basketball courts outside of Doherty Gym. The construction will include 8 new pickleball courts to replace the 2 tennis courts and 2 new basketball courts with 4 new basketball hoops. The bid was awarded this past week, and I'm proud to say that construction is set to take place this spring, just in time for the outdoor pickleball season to be in full swing. Additionally, through our stormwater and engineering divisions, we have completed the first part of a parking lot expansion at the Elderly Affairs Building. The stormwater division currently has the funding to implement a bioretention basin in the parking lot so that stormwater is treated before becoming groundwater, further protecting our natural resources. Another goal of my administration has been to bring our town into compliance with the state's requirement of 10% affordability for housing. As our population increased to nearly 40,000 in the most recent census, so did our responsibility to provide affordable housing to meet the goal of 10%. After a conversation with former Councilor Steve Sasha, we began exploring creative alternatives to provide affordable housing in Braintree. I engaged with the owners of Windjammer Cove and established a plan to convert at least 25% of the existing Windjammer Cove apartments to affordable units. Through countless hours of work, the Planning Department Director, Melissa Santucci-Rossi, was able to bring this plan to fruition. And once completed, the successful conversion of the 19 units will enable the town to include all 73 units at this property into its subsidized housing inventory and will increase the town's total SHI to above 9.5%. Thank you to the Community Preservation Committee and to the Town Council for their support of this important project. Despite their location on the beautiful waterfront setting, the old Braintree Electric Light buildings have sat vacant for decades. This area is prime for redevelopment, and the sale of the property to Arts Communities and Wind Development will do just that. Their plans for the property will bring new life to the area and provide public access to the water, including a boardwalk, for the first time ever in the property's history. With construction scheduled to begin in early 2023, this beautiful new building will provide 56 dwellings with up to 40% affordable units, further supporting our affordable housing goals. It is imperative that we continue to promote and integrate affordable housing within our community. With that in mind, I have proposed an inclusionary housing ordinance that require multifamily units of 6 or more to provide affordable units. This inclusionary housing will, among other things, make sure that our inventory of existing and proposed affordable housing is preserved and maintained. Also, as it relates to affordable housing, I would like to thank Representatives Cusack, Senator John Keenan, and Senator Walter Timilty for their help in securing $200,000 in earmarked funding to conduct a feasibility study to increase our affordable housing stock for seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities. We will be using these funds to assess the property located at 90 Pond Street, the former Noatori School, for potential redevelopment to housing. We must take care of our seniors, veterans, and people with disabilities, and being able to provide additional housing opportunities is one way for us to do just that. Also, with grant funding received from the Massachusetts Office on Disability, we have engaged with the Institute for Human-Centered Design, Inc., to finalize the current draft self-evaluation and transition plan to fully comply with ADA standards. Their extensive knowledge and expertise will ensure a thorough review of the existing plans from the perspective of accessibility to provide a final report that includes recommendations to modify and correct any existing impediments to full public access to town properties and programs. Although the town has faced many challenges and setbacks over the past nearly 6 decades, we are one step closer to the construction of the Peterson Pool Rink complex. I'm sure you've heard that before. Hopefully this is real. Starting from scratch, I revised the request for proposals and created a selection committee comprised of the representatives from the project stakeholders. It was very important to make sure that we had representatives from the swim community and from the hockey community. So I had reached out to the varsity hockey coach and swim coach. And Jenny Keene, who is the swim coach, and Dave Fasano, who's the varsity boys hockey coach, both volunteered to be on this committee. Additionally, Tom Devon from the school committee and Larry Mackin from the town council, along with Chief of Staff Nicole Taub, worked diligently to select the most qualified developer for this project. There was only one. Thank God he was qualified. It would be great to stand here and tell you that I have signed a ground lease and have a completion date, but at this point, we are still working through the details. And for me, my perspective comes from having grown up in Braintree and coached and understand, after listening to all the hockey coaches, especially Jimmy Lockhart, for so many years while I was coaching baseball, we had to engage all of the parties that were going to be using this site. So it was important that not only we build the Peterson pool and build this hockey rink complex, but that it is built in a way that works for all and has all of the necessary things that the swim team would need to compete 100% in a tournament. And I know that we've accomplished that. And at this point, we continue to work on making sure that it's affordable for our youth hockey program and our hockey program and our swim team. So my commitment is there to fulfill the original donation made by Captain Peterson and once and for all get this stinking pool built. Well, if I had already signed the lease, this would have been a much better applause. But anyway, in closing, I want to thank the residents of the town of Braintree for your resilience, your compassion, and your community spirit. You are what makes our town so great. As I have shared with you tonight, the town of Braintree has many great things to look forward to in the coming year. We will continue to offer our students the greatest education through our school department, maintain our roads and infrastructure through our DPW, keep our neighborhoods safe through our police and fire, promote growth and development through our planning and community development, promote health and safety through our municipal licensing inspections, engage our seniors through the Department of Elder Affairs, and offer activities and educational opportunities through the Thayer Public Library. Our staff stands committed to continuing to serve this community as we continue the path forward beyond the pandemic and rebuild our economy. Braintree's potential is limitless, and we all play a part in our success. I consider myself blessed to have grown up in Braintree and raised my family here in the town of Braintree. And most importantly, it is my privilege to serve as your mayor. Thank you.